But despite the G7's historic commitment, several South Asian nations continue to scramble for vaccines. There is no clarity over the timeline of 1 billion vaccines to be donated by the G7 nations. Experts say that announcement was too vague and lacks real planning as to how it's going to address the immediate needs of other nations. And nations like Sri Lanka, Nepal and Bangladesh are still finding it difficult to inoculate their citizens, while they're confronting the shortage of vaccines and outbreaks. Remember that these are the countries which depended on vaccine donations by India and purchases from the Serum Institute of India. But as coronavirus cases rapidly began to rise in India and it found itself reeling under the deadly third wave of infection, the Indian government was forced to block those exports. This forced the Serum Institute to renege on bilateral agreements and to commit to the WHO's COVAX programme. Let's look at what's been happening in Nepal. There, the positivity rate in Nepal is high, and even in the small amount of tests being conducted daily, every 1 in 3 is coming back positive. Less than 1% of the population has been fully vaccinated. The New York Times has stated that Nepal has received donations from China from its Sinopharm vaccine, but it still needs AstraZeneca doses to vaccinate those who'd received the first jab. Nepal has requested the European Union and separately Denmark to supply vaccines, including the AstraZeneca shots. All eyes are now on the 7 million vaccine donations earmarked for Nepal, out of the 25 million vaccine doses pledged by the Biden administration. Sri Lanka is also one of the South Asian nations scrambling for vaccines. According to the New York Times, it has asked Japan for 600,000 AstraZeneca doses, with Japan giving the country a green light for the same amount. Aside from this, Sri Lanka is dependent on China's donation of Sinopharm doses and purchase shots of Sputnik V from Russia. Let's now look at Bangladesh, where infections and deaths due to the second wave of COVID continue to rise. According to the New York Times, the country is relying on its US diaspora to raise pressure on the Biden administration for help in obtaining AstraZeneca shots. They are currently short of about 1.5 million doses for administering the second vaccine. It's already using the 1.1 million doses of Sinopharm vaccine donated by China, and it's trying to get more. And along with this, Bangladesh has laid down a strategy of negotiating bulk buys of Russia's Sputnik V vaccine. Only about 4.2 million of Bangladesh's 168 million people population have so far fully been vaccinated.